You were talking about the implementation of AI and you were like, the people that implement AI aren't the ones that are going to make the most money. It's the people that are coaching the people doing the implementation are the ones that are going to make the most money.
The people who made the most money were the people that sold pickaxes to gold miners, not the people who are actually searching for gold.
So freelancing's dead. That's it. The game is done, some may say.
Well, I think we disagree on this one, don't we? I think that's getting harder and harder for freelancers out there to do stuff on their own, with a lot of the expectations that come from, like, rising expectations that are coming from people. I think there's like things are being made a little bit easier with AI, but then I don't know whether as well that actually makes it like whether or not that'll make it easier or whether or not that'll make it like even harder to compete as well. Like the rate of change, like an agency with a few more people, like in a bit of a team of specialists can achieve.
See, I disagree with you on this point. I think it's the era of the freelancer, meaning it's easier than ever to become the freelancer and implement it with businesses. I think we're very lucky here, obviously in Australia, but like most places, to be honest, is there's always going to be this need of, the hand-holding and the helping and the implementation of people. And I think whilst it's gotten easier than ever, I think it's also going to become the biggest distraction for business owners, that they try to pull themselves away from managing and doing what they, maybe they're passionate about or what they do best in their business. And they have this easy distraction to go, oh, I'm just going to now go and do all this content myself, or get on social media or run my own ads or implement these funnels or, whatever it may do, because they think they need to do all of that so that they can then do the thing that what they thoroughly enjoy or what they're good at or whatever that may be. And I think the distraction is easier now than ever. Sure, once you get into it, as we all know, the learning curve is pretty steep around whatever you go into, whether it be paid advertising funnels or just doing organic socials and trying to do it better and doing better and better and better. I think it is going to be easier than ever for freelancers to start, because there's so much awareness around it, because like you're saying, the tools are all there and people are so aware that they need it, and they can talk with a GPT, a Claude, a Gemini, whatever it is, and understand what they're needing and how to go about it. But they always run into the issue of it's so hard to do content on my own, or if they do content on their own and they slap it through, some visual effects tool where they're getting an AI version of themselves, dubbing over B-roll content or whatever it may be, it either won't land well or it won't articulate them properly. So I think it'll be easier than ever for freelancers, because you'll have high demand for our services, and pre-existing creatives will have the skill sets and the understanding to be able to implement. But I suppose the gap will be how adaptable you can be, because as we move through time, the tooling's going to get better and you'll have to consistently change your value exchange. You can't have, your rock solid, this is my product, this is all I do, and this is all ever I'll do for 5 years. You'll have to be able to adapt quickly.
Do you reckon that becomes hard to do, when you are on your own? Because I remember when I was trying to do everything on my own, I remember how hard it was, not just keep up with the work that you've got on your plate, but you've also got the marketing yourself, jumping on sales calls, the systems and things you're trying to build in the back end. There's all these sort of things you end up needing to do on top of your own thing that I feel makes it very hard to keep up with things that are changing. I mean, I think it depends on your goals a little bit though. I think I was always wanting to grow something big. I think maybe there's still room, I think, for the freelancer that is happy to get to a certain point and wants to have that more focus on, I suppose, lifestyle rather than earning lots. or like, building something bigger than themselves kind of thing. And if you know that, maybe, that's fine. But like, I think there's people that sort of go into it thinking they're going to be able to build something big off the back of like pretty much building everything around themselves, which I don't know if that's the long-term plan.
I suppose it comes back to is like, sure, the death of the freelancer is real, but it's like, what sort of freelancer? Are you the freelancer, like you're saying, that, you want to be the one-man band that works on, whether it be, one client, 1 to 2 clients consistently, or are you the freelancer that wants to build out the client base up to 10, it's smaller contracts, ongoing, or whatever it may be, and you monitor them all yourself, or you're the freelancer that wants to be, in corporate where you work in big project to big project and you booked out 2 months at a time for like 20, 30 grand for a job, whatever it may be. I think, exploring those options, I think the freelancer that has the bigger corporate work that's probably like product-based sort of stuff is probably gone. Obviously with the advancement of like AI tooling and stuff, like those budgets are becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. At least I think that, and that's the way we're positioning is, moving more towards events. But if you're the freelancer that wants to just create for small business, smaller brands and stuff like that, I think that the opportunity is as alive as ever, because the tooling is there to support you to buy back heaps of your time. So you can, you can write your captions, have them written like 60, 70% through GPT, and you can just polish off the last 30, 40%. And you can come up with a lot of ideas through custom GPT models, or even just basic GPT models. So there's a lot of time that can be bought back through this sort of tooling, where I think the rise is there for the freelancer. But as I was saying before, as we progress through this time, people are going to become very aware to where all that information is coming from. And there'll be a portion of time, probably take a few years, that if we're all just using the same tooling to come up with the same ideas, we're all going to sound the same. So there'll be a portion of time where you just can't go to a GPT and prompt, give me 10 ideas for a mortgage broker, because like, one, everyone's done that and everyone's made a bunch of videos on that before. So like those aren't new ideas. And that's the way the sort of industry is anyway. You have to get creative with your ideation. You've got to make it, create me 10 ideas for a mortgage broker specifically for someone that is a first home buyer that is in the age range of 18 to 25. And you got to get more and more, understanding of your client avatar for your clients and things like that. Death of the freelancer.
It'll be interesting to see. I think like a lot of other industries, there's like, I think it'll be really, really hard to be. It'll be easier to get in, like easier to be able to start something and get some stuff going. But like, I think when it wasn't so saturated, I feel like you could kind of like come in and you could almost like, you could grow really quickly, because like the demand for people that need creative services and the supply wasn't there. And I think we're seeing the demand rise. We're also seeing like, the supply go with, like, there's also a lot of people like coming in because it's so easy that, and like, I mean, I just feel as though there's a lot of people out there that are kind of like they're being burnt by people that are smaller, trying to do too many things and like maybe pitching for things they're not quite like capable of doing because they're trying to take on everything, which is fine. We've all done it. We've all taken a job on before you're ready. It's just part of the process. So I don't have an issue with people pushing and doing that sort of stuff. But I feel like on the client side, like for other people out there that are looking inwards, like looking outward into our industry, it's like that's the impression that they have. I feel like they're kind of like, I just feel like I've been burnt by like going with someone smaller before, or going with like giving someone a shot before. And it's like there'll always be people that are willing to give people a shot, but I feel like the people that are willing to take a gamble are also the people that have the smaller budgets kind of thing. So I think that like it'll be something where I think you're going to have to, I think it's going to be harder to earn your stripes. I think like it's going to be a thing where you're not just able to like come in and like suddenly get like, you know, a $5,000-$10,000 project job right off the bat, or expect the business to like just jump on a $2,000-$3,000 retainer, and hand over all of their social media to you when you haven't had a lot of experience. Like I think you know, have to be willing to like, if you want to make it in the industry as a freelancer, or like as I think you know, you're gonna have to be prepared to, you know, grind for 2-3 years, if not more.
When you say grind though, what does that actually look like? What do you think earning your stripes looks like for those creatives?
I think just knowing that you're not going to jump up to earning like $10,000 a month in revenue right away. Like that, I mean, and to an extent that's always been true, but I do think there's a bit of an expectation out there around you can jump into the creative industry and like start earning that within your first year. You know, because a lot of there's coaches and gurus and stuff out there saying that that's like easy to do.
I'd also look at it too, like, because you're right. That is the whole thing, is like $10,000 a month. They're definitely the ads and things like that. But I'd be looking at too of like, what are you actually trying to achieve? I know we've spoken about this on like previous episodes, but it's like, look at the lifestyle you want to achieve. Like we've had a team member recently that wanted to pick lifestyle over, you know, the alternative, and it was they've chosen a pathway that allows them to have the lifestyle that they want at an organization that they care for, rather than the alternative. And like, I think it's important to know that if you want a particular lifestyle, think of that first. Don't think of, I want to make $10,000 a month and, you know, being a freelancer is going to have all this extra time and, you know, it's going to be so cruisy. I'm going to get to travel all the year and stuff like that. Like, it's not true. It's like, it's not this coasting sort of environment where you just get to like, you know, sip mocktails and live on an unlimited sort of credit card. Like, it doesn't exist. Like, it's hard work. And there are amazing creatives that are either really good at what they do and get a few lucky opportunities. Not lucky, because luck's not real. You know, they work hard for their creative skill set and stuff like that. But they get the opportunities and they make the most of those opportunities and they leverage them and they start their career on like a really good trajectory. Or whatever their pre-existing situation is, and they have a good sort of start. And there are creatives that can do that, but I think for the vast majority of us, we all go through that pathway of like 2, 3, 4 years of just like, you know, you think you're earning all this money, and then by the time you do your tax, and by the time you do your GST, and by the time you pay all your subscriptions and stuff, you're like, oh shit, like there's actually no money left for a holiday or whatever. So yeah, I think think about your lifestyle first. And like, it's easy to run some basic, I know we all hate data as creatives, but like, it's not that hard to look at to go, okay, you want to earn $100,000 or whatever it is, call $100,000. How many projects do you need to do to make $100,000? And you go, I don't know, like, look at the last projects that you've done. What are they worth? What's the average? And you very quickly figure out how many projects you need to do to make $100,000. And then you can divide that by 12, and then you've got how many projects you need to do a month. And then you go, okay, how many conversations do I need to have a project land and close? And you can very quickly start to work back from that. And like, there's plenty of resources out there. Like, easy one, go read Alex Hormozy, $100 million models or whatever. There's a bunch of resources that will help you understand that like KPI sort of pathway. And you very quickly realize to have the 50 projects to earn $100,000, you probably need to be having like 1,000 conversations or 2,000 conversations. Because, you know, your conversion rate early on is going to be crap because you're just early and green. And you'll soon realize that, like most of my week needs to be doing these sales efforts, so I can spend a very small part of my week to do the creative, so that then I can earn the $100,000. And then you look at that and go, or I can go to an established company, whether it be another media company that can hire you, or go and work as like in the creative department of an very established company that have a role defined just for a content creator. And then you look at that outlay of time and you go, rather than me doing 3 days a week to do the 2 days a week creativity, I can do 5 days a week creativity, and I can get a guaranteed salary, and I can get a guaranteed paid holiday and whatever. Different. Like, it's like not everyone wants the pathway of the 9 to 5, or not everyone wants the structure of a role. I'm the example of that. Like, I don't do well in sitting in one spot. I can barely sit still on these podcasts. But like, pick what you want. Like, have a good look at yourself and figure out, are you that person that can do with the structure? Are you that person that can do with the, stress of business and the unknown of where things are going to come from? Choose what you want and go that pathway. But know that you're going down that pathway. Don't think it's all sunshine and rainbows and it's magically just going to happen.
Yeah, because and I don't want it to sound like, I know sometimes
doom and gloom.
It can sound a bit doom and gloom. But I think it's important to share this sort of stuff, because I do think like everything else out there is like go into business and you should do that. Like, you're going to have the lifestyle you want, and they sell. And most of the people are selling you something when they're saying that sort of stuff. And
you said a good saying. It was like 9 months ago. You said this. You were talking about the implementation of AI, and you were like, the people that implement AI aren't the one that are going to make the most money. It's the people that are coaching the people doing the implementation are the ones that are going to make the most money. And I think it went back to the story of some like ancient thing.
It was like I read in a book, Think and Grow Rich, and it was around I think it was like the gold mining age or something like that. And it was like the people who made the most money were the people that sold pickaxes to gold miners, not the people who are actually searching for gold.
I think that's so important though. Like, that example.
It's why we've got so many coaches coaching coaches, and course creators and people selling all that sort of stuff. Because like the people that, but with that has now create a lot of skepticism and stuff like that. But it's like I've got no issue with people that want to start a business and go down that route. And I think it's like, if you're built that way, like, it won't even seem like an option. Like you and I have talked about it before of like I just couldn't go back to like working as an employee now. And like, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like I think it's just a different attitude towards things. Like, I like working the long weeks and working after hours. And if I need to jump in on a weekend, and like, I like thinking about this a lot of the time. For other people, that's not the life they want to be able to switch off, and they want to be able to have security and stability. And I think it's just like, if I was more like that, I would have the last 7 years in the like period of time where it was like really, really tough trying to get the business up to a point that was actually livable. If I got to the end of that and then was like, it doesn't really get easier and turn into a lifestyle thing. Like,
it doesn't take
I
long
thought I was
to like peek behind the curtain. Like, it doesn't take, when I say that, it's like you get to a stage when you finally realize like what businesses charge out on top of you as an employee. Like, when you make that transition, like I was talking to a lawyer the other day, and he was a very well-paid lawyer, and he made the transition to opening his own business. But he was like, now I'm earning 5 times as much as I was as an employee, and I think it's ludicrous. But he's also like undercharging for him in his industry. He should be charging way more than he is. But like, it's the discrepancy between employee pay versus business pay. But he understands like why he needs to charge what he charges, because like a business is got to make money. But it doesn't take long to peek behind the curtain to realize what that difference is, but also why the difference is. You know, the stress, all the things you've got to think about, all the insurances that you need, the tax bills that come out of nowhere, the random bills, you know, that just come out of nowhere, and all these things you have to deal with as business ownership. I completely forgot where I was going with this point. Nah, slipped me altogether. That's so funny.
Cut it, Nick.
That's staying in.
Nah, it's easy. I think
peek behind the curtain. So sorry, when you peek behind the curtain, it's not as well as there's the price discrepancy and stuff, but then there's also the no, I'm not losing it again. There is you realize people are faking it. Not faking it, but like no one actually knows what they're doing. But that's the whole thing. Like, you have enough of an idea to where you can make a value exchange that is fair for the point that you're at. And then you get to the next level and you feel like you've got no idea, but then you make the fair value exchange for where you're at. And that just keeps continuing to happen until you get experience. And then you're able to say like, oh yeah, I'm experienced. I've done this before. And that's why I charge what I charge.
It did bring up for me then when we were going through that, like all the people that I see that that talk about business from like the lifestyle perspective, or like they want to build a lifestyle business, right? All the ones I see that are promoting that as a thing or that have done that successfully are people that still went through a period of grind and burnout and like the long hours each week and like all of that sort of stuff, and they've got credibility. They've built something big and then either like burnt it down or sold it off or like done something, but they still built it. They've still got this thing of like something that they did that gives them credibility, so that like when they do go to like start something that is like, I want this to be more of a lifestyle thing and I only want to work 20 hours, whatever, they don't have to, they're not starting from scratch. Like I think that's the thing too. It's like if you try to start from scratch but you want like balance and lifestyle and all that sort of thing, but there's no credibility, there's no reputation, there's no portfolio you can lean on, there's no evidence or social proof, like that's very hard to like go and just like do right off the bat.
Yeah, you can't start the race and live like you're already at the end of the race.
We get into trouble, don't you? Like I remember, like, do you reckon? I remember when I first started earning like decent money when I had like in my previous business. I remember it coming in and like just completely mismanaging it because like it was like I didn't know what to do when like actually had the money come in, like in terms of putting money aside for tax, because it's like, that's
I'll tell you about
actually not my money that I should have and everything.
I'll tell you about a scary story. I'm happy to talk about this now, but when I was a young chap, because obviously I started my business.
Young chap, 25.
When I was a young chap.
Listen to anyone older than this listening to it going like, fuck you.
No, when I was a young chap. So I had the business when I was 15, right? I was doing Inflex photography back in the day. I've talked about that in a few episodes. So I started very early, and then I, broke into doing more of my Ben Cook creative freelance stuff as an 18-year-old, and then partnered up with another agency at the time very closely, and went on sort of a pathway there that didn't end up working out. But I was earning great money as that sort of thing for that stage of my life. Like I was a full-time 9 to 5. It was more like a full-time 6 a.m. till 4:30 p.m. labouring job. So I worked as a civil labourer as well as a civil carpenter labourer and a few other like standard roles. And then I was doing my freelance stuff on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday night, doing like web design, ads management and learning a few things in the background. and then doing my photography Friday nights, Saturday nights, and Sunday during the day, doing the editing. So I was working big weeks, and I had, good cash coming in as an 18-year-old, earning like, $3K a week, $2.5K a week. It was great. But I was spending like, thankfully, I had a zero file, and I look back at these moments, the chart of accounts, and I was spending like $600 a week or $800 a week on dining out, just like KFC and all these things. Or like I'd be at the labouring job and I'd be like, I'll just buy breakfast. I'll just buy lunch. I'll buy some food on the way home, because I was working so much. And you're like, I'll just spend. I've got the money to do it. And to your point, it's so easy to mismanage your funds because, you're not thinking about, I've got to pay the tax man, or I've got to pay the GST, or I've got to put money aside so when I need to, like my camera's eventually going to cark it, I'm going to have to buy a new camera, or my car's going to cark it, I need to buy a new car, or whatever. Like, you're not thinking about these things. I think that's going to be easier, to bring it back to the topic. I think that's going to be easier to do in this day and age, and like the death of the freelancer, because everyone's going to be telling you, oh, you need this new thing. You need this, there's this new way of doing things that you need to go and do, and it'll be a course. Or there'll be this new software that you need, and you got to go buy it. Or there's, we're moved into augmented reality, and you've got to have lenses now that do, 3D mapping. Or you've got to have this new camera to be able to you got to go have meta glasses. Oh, you need to go have a DJI Osmo. Oh, you need to go have a 360 camera. And there's always going to be the next thing to buy and go and do. So I think it's an interesting time to be a freelancer.
What would your advice be then to someone wanting to get started? Like in the current landscape, what would be your advice to them?
I think go and approach someone that is that has a video production company like us, wherever you are locally, and whether you do or don't have that near you. Like if you don't have someone like that does, the social media content and has like a good diversity between that and once-off projects and a few skill sets that you can learn from, whatever it may be, go find someone locally and say to them, hey, I want to come work for you, fully transparent. I'm only looking to work for like 12 to 24 months, and then I want to go out on my own and do this. Be very transparent around the fact that you want to go out after the fact and do this, because obviously it's not good to go and learn from someone and then, go out on your own, because you'll have non-competes under your employment contract and all these things you've got to be careful for. But go to a person like that and basically say, like, I want to learn these skill sets. And I guarantee what you'll learn is all the things that it takes and the teams that they have to be able to deliver what they do. And you'll either get a few outcomes. You'll either learn that working for that company and focusing in on just the role that they give you is awesome and you'll love it. You'll either figure out that you can do it on your own and you have the skill sets to go do it on your own, and you'll finish the agreement that you've agreed upon. You'll have a fair and, sort of good outcome between you and the employer, and you'll go out on your own and you'll have learned the skill sets to do it properly rather than learning on someone else's dime without the experience. And that's sort of like, I think that's like a great pathway to go about, because I know if a person came to us at the moment and said, look, I want to do 12 months with you guys. I've got all my own kit. I've got all my own stuff, but transparently, I want to go out on my own and do it after the fact. I would sit down and have a conversation with them and say, like, look, totally open to that. Here's the ground rules. Like, if you're going to go out on your own at the end, one, you can't take our clients at the end, and you also can't do X, Y, Z for a duration of time. But I'm happy to grow you on this pathway if you're willing to work hard on the projects that we put you on.
Interesting. I don't know if I'd feel the same.
Really?
Only the 12-month part. I'm very open to like anyone on the team saying like they want to go and do something and like helping them on that pathway. Not everyone has to work with us forever. I think if someone said they were like 12 months away though, maybe it'd be sitting down the conversation being like, hey, like, where are you really at?
Yeah,
like
that's
if
a good
it actually is 12 months.
Where are you at?
Because I think if someone came in wanting, I think if you go in expecting 12 months and you're going to be ready kind of thing, you're actually already most of the way there, and you actually just need like a bit of advice from a few people around like, do you need, the right kind of accountant to get set up properly? Do you need like someone to like, you might be able to have a few conversations and bridge that 12-month gap sooner. I think if someone said like, this is something I want to do, but like, I think I'm a good creative, but I'd like to be a great creative. And then I'd also like to learn the business stuff. I'd say that as like, there's still like, cool. This is like maybe anywhere from like 3 to 5 years kind of thing. And if someone's like was on board for that kind of thing, I'd be willing to have that chat. But I think that's a very, very open. I think if you go in with, I think that'd probably be my thing. I'm very open to anyone coming in and like being transparent about where you want to go. I think that's the best thing you can do when you go to an employer. Be really transparent about what you want. But maybe even coming in and going like, knowing the right questions to ask. Like, hey, this is something I want to like go and do. This is where I'm at. Like,
and these are the gaps I'm looking to like learn on.
100%.
Because I suppose with my example, I'm definitely pitching towards like the creative that's been the creative, but like literally struggles with the business side of things.
Yeah. Like someone that's already great and it's just like over 12 months, I want to learn
XYZ.
Yeah.
Versus, the person that's left the corporate role that's made a few TikToks and had a few minor successes and wants to go and create a business. Yeah, there's a very different pathway there around like going from that to being a proper creative.
but if someone came in, I think if you come in and you go like, I think that's the thing. As much as like our industry can feel a little bit like it's people gatekeeping and it's not as open and that sort of stuff. Like, I'm super open. Like anyone listening to this that wanted to reach out and like go, hey, this is where I'm at the moment. Like this is where I feel some things are at. What should I do to get to like this stage or whatever? Just sharing like our experience and stuff. I mean, that's the whole reason we sort of started this in the first place.
Like we've both got some ripper experiences where we've had our pitfalls and we've definitely made our mistakes. And it's like we were talking before around like we've had that point where we're the low value exchange and we're the low price and we've climbed up a little bit, and by no means do we know it all. Like we've still got a massive pathway ahead of us, and we know our gaps and are learning our constraints. But yeah, I think there's so much to share and so much to give, so you don't have to go and make the mistakes. But some people need to learn the mistakes themselves. Like, unfortunately, I know I'm sometimes that person where it's just like sometimes I've just got to learn the mistake myself, and it might be a small one, around like misquoting a post-production element of a job and going like, I only thought it was going to take me 4 hours and it takes a day instead or whatever. Sometimes you need to learn those hard things to be like, I won't do that next time. But not everything has to be learned that way.
No, 100%. We've gone for a little bit. We're trying to keep these internal ones down to half an hour, so we'll wrap it up there. But if you guys have anyone that you think we should be bringing on here, that you think has great experience in this space, it could add a lot of value to other creatives, we'd love to have them on. But otherwise, please like and subscribe and let us know what things you're interested in, what things you're feeling we could anything you want to know from us, leave it in the comments, and we can do an episode like this and really talk to is freelancing dead or not, and give our thoughts around that.